second speaker is ready. His name is Victor Alexis. He's a communication guy. He's a public speaking coach, and he's an. So, sir, we want to welcome you, Victor Alexis, to anchor on this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Emeka. Thank you very, very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Please, if you can hear me, just drop an emoji. Just drop an emoji. I'm a fan of emoji. If you can hear me, please just help me with an emoji. Just drop it. I want to see plenty emoji, and I want to feel myself. That's the idea. Simple. Good evening. Good evening. If you can hear me, emojis, emojis. Oh, thank you, Divine. Thank you. Ah, correct. My people be unadi, 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 unadi. This is how I like it. This is how I like it. This is how I like it. Okay, okay, okay. I would want to run on. It's actually in my nature to always want to rush through things like this. But if you know somebody that is going for service, go and bring them because we're about to pour in plenty. Like I like going in hot. So go and pack them and come. And by God's grace, we'll cover as much as possible. So if you know someone that is going for service, tell them to come because I don't like being modest. I like being sincere. I'm a spec, and I want to give you those dosage from the bowels of a spec. Don't mind me, Jerry. Good evening, everyone. Once again, hope you are having a lovely time. First off, thank you very much, Emeka, for this opportunity to have to share some of my NYSC experience. I look forward to exhausting as much as possible, and I look forward to questions you would have, and at the same time, I hope we would enjoy this time we have. I hope we would enjoy this time we have. Emeka, please, in the comment section, I would appreciate if you can just drop how many minutes I would have to use. Please, I need it so that I will be staring at my time as I work. Just help me with how many minutes I would have to use. Then I delve straight into what we have today. The topic that was given to me was around communication and how to utilize it in youth service. But I'm going to dabble into somebody's own. Small, a little. I'm going to dabble into the aspect of building and utilizing your skill set. A little. But like I said, it's going to be majorly, thank you very much. It's going to be majorly on communication. Now, you see, I'll start with a story, right? My service was delayed by 3 years. I finished school in 2019 and I did not go for service until 2022. And all through that period, it was difficult explaining to my parents that I did not have any carryover. It was just my school delaying me. Now, fast forward to when I eventually finished all my clearance. I went for service. And in fact, before I went for service, I met some of my friends, like some of my friends that went before me. And then, I was like, come on, how is it going? How is it going? And then I just kept on hearing this. And here was the thing. I had set my mind that I wanted to become one of the most popular guys in camp. That was my goal. I wanted to be that if I pass, you will know that, hey, that's Victor. Like I don't want to know you. I want you to know me. I don't know if you can relate. If you can relate to this kind of desire, please just drop something in comment section. And when I went for service, right? I got to the camp. I was posted to Kogi Asayakaba. I got to Kogi on Wednesday. And before I got to Kogi around, let's say 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And before 12 noon on Thursday, I was already the head of OBS. If you don't know what was OBS, go and ask any corper, go and ask any ex-corper or any serving corps member who an OBS member is. You understand? And I was made the head of OBS. Now, that's one. And then two, after service, I came out and where I was posted to, I did not like it. And somehow, I don't know how, but I managed to build a rap with my LI. The LI is the local government inspector, the representative of NYSC in your local government. And I told him, Oga, you have to look for a way to change me. And they changed me. It wasn't actually easy, Sha. I had to press one or two buttons, but I did not give anybody shishi. I'm a spec, like I said. And fast forward to the end of my service year, I was one of the I'm a Catholic, by the way. Yeah, I'm a Catholic. And I was the only corps member that was celebrated in my church. Like in the church I attended there, they called me out, I knelt down, and the priest prayed for me. And it was very, very humbling because many of my students, I was a teacher by the way, many of my students were there and then they were, sir, see where you need down, teacher, father, they pray for you and all of those things. And even up till today, the mistake I made was giving them my phone number because I don't rest. But now, the key question I want you to ask is, how was I able to build that influence in 1 year? It's very possible. It's very, very possible. It's something anybody can do with the least of their energy. But it all starts with one thing, and that one thing is how you sell yourself and your confidence level. Do you understand? In fact, I think both of them mean the same thing. See, um, when it comes to communication, let's go back to the beginning. When it comes to communication, many people see communication simply as a means to an end, or better still, an end. They look at it when you hear communication. What comes to your mind? People think rich men. They think of one guy in suits that is talking to people and speaking phonetic. What they don't realize is that the very moment you have an identity, you already have a message. Do you understand? The very moment you have an identity, you already have a message. You may ask, what is identity? It is simple. What do people know you for? What do people know you for? Like, that's a question. When I call your name, when I call, okay, Emeka, or I call Nelly Samuel, or I call Purity Ernest, what's that thing? What's that thing that people should remember first about you? Do you get? And many people, in a bit to get popular, end up taking somebody else's identity. You get? And as a result, the fakeness oozes out. And so they take on this person's identity and it does not work for them. And then they change identity and then they change identity. And that inconsistency makes them, they are unable to even build their own identity, which is why they will not even have any confidence in the first place. Am I communicating? Like, are you with me? So now, I, for one, liked talking, right? I wanted to go for service and I asked somebody, what are the do's and don'ts of service? And then he told me everything I needed to know. Oh, this person was like, okay, I got to camp, I could not join OBS, so I joined brigade. And because I used to be in brigade back in school, I excelled easily and I was working there with my platoon leader and it influenced my posting. And I was like, oh, okay. But since me I like to talk, it's OBS I want. And when I got there, I was able to show them, I don't know what I showed them sincerely, but what I think I showed them was somebody who had a destination. One, somebody who had a destination. One, two, who had the confidence to communicate that destination. And then three, who had the determination to follow through with that destination. Go and ask any core member. Orientation broadcasting service, I think something like that. Yeah. I'm just not going to dwell so much on it. Now, the thing is when you are able to carry on with this identity, when you're able to carry on with this trifecta, it becomes easy for you to market yourself anywhere. Why? Because you know who you are, right? You know what you are pursuing, and of a truth, you know you are not there. But the fact that you know what you're pursuing means you already have an idea. You already have an idea that this. Sorry? Okay. You already have an idea that this thing can be, should I say, catchable. Do you understand? So, which is where courage comes into play. If I ask you a question like, introduce yourself to me, what's the first thing you would say? Sincerely, now let's just throw that question out to the whole house. If I ask you, who are you? What's the first thing? What's the first thing you say? Don't say Christian, don't say child of God, don't say Abba worshiper, all those things don't say anything that is tied to religion now. Who are you? Everybody, please just give a response. I think if I get like 5 responses, I'll continue. What's the first definition of yourself? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when someone asks you who you are? I dey wait, I dey wait, I dey wait, I dey wait. What is, what is, what is, what is, what is? Ah, Name. No, I don't want name. I don't want name. Remove your name, remove your address, remove your religion, remove your occupation, remove any personal detail. What is that one thing you can use to define yourself aside them? Or yeah, apart from Emeka, what's the next thing you use to define yourself? Apart from your name, what's the next thing you use to define yourself? It is these things that govern how you behave. Do you get? And many of us tend to attach ourselves to the identity that people have bestowed on us. And as a result, we cannot defend that identity. Hey, stop stealing. I am the spec. Now, I will say this story before I get on. Right? This statement that Emeka made here, I'm a spec, was something I started sometime in middle of 2022. And it was just a random discussion I had with someone, and I told the person, well, you can't blame me, I'm a spec. And the person said, true, of a truth, you are. And I felt flattered. And since then, I started calling myself a spec. But here was the thing. When the context surrounding that word spec means like special, one of a kind, unique. But every time I reminded myself that I was a spec, it became an identity I started pursuing. You get? So I may not speak clean English like so many other people, right? But I knew I was going to get there. Do you understand? I may not rap eloquently like so many other people, but it was something I knew I was going to get. So it became easy for me to climb every single step. You understand? Now continuing, right, on this whole topic of confidence. If you're to gain it, here are the things I feel you should get on how to prepare rather for it. The first one is know what you want. The second one is know who has what you want. The third one is know what they like. Know who has what you want, know what they like. There's this Bible verse that says, without controversy, the less is blessed of the greater. The greater has something that the lesser wants. But for the lesser to get it, the lesser has to provoke a blessing out of the greater, right? Now, if you want to become a basketballer, for instance, or let's say you want to speak eloquently, for instance, you would have to go to someone who you know who speaks so well and begin to ask, how do you speak so well? If the person is in a good mood, the person can divulge all the secrets to you. If the person is in a poker mood, it becomes a question of, okay, so of what value are you that I'm to give you all of these things? Do you get? So which is where you now have to present yourself as a person of value to be able to extract all of these things from them. I don't know if wait. Are you people are you following? Please indicate in the comment section. Let me be sure that I'm with people. Are you following? Ah, cool. Nice. Sweet. So moving on. When you know what you want, you know who has what you want, and you know what they like. The next thing for you to do is to pursue with muzzle. And now, that being said, I'll enter wholly into communication. You see, communication is not just one aspect of your life. Communication governs every aspect of your life. Why? Because it is how you talk that people will regard you. But then, for you to get to that point where people will regard you based on how you talk, you have to practice, right? You have to practice. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the effort, right? You have to consume materials and all of those things. It is that consumption of material, as you consume in books, you read books, you listen to podcasts, you practice. It is there that you gather the confidence that makes you know that you can dwell on a particular topic and kill it. There are some of you here now that if we are to decide to talk about marketing, is your field, you are cool, you can slay, you can talk for 2 hours, and you are confident of every time you open your mouth because you know that your mouth will not snitch on you, your mouth will not fall your hand. You get? There's some people that if we decide to talk about IT, all this tech and the rest, you can just go on and on smoothly. You get? Why you are able to do all of this is because you know that you have adequate knowledge to sustain you in any conversation. That is confidence. Do you understand? That in itself is confidence. Now, it is that confidence that now radiates, and then when people begin to look at you as a person of value, it now becomes easy for you to duplicate that esteem onto other things. When you talk so well, people look at you and they respect you, and then they make way for you to come and occupy one position. If you are a person that values personal development, if you're one who values personal development, what that kind of a thing does for you is that it forces you to go back to your drawing board and begin to build yourself. Something happened to me recently, right? I had a friend who contacted me and said, how much will it cost you to train two people in a business pitch? Yes, they wanted to go and pitch their business, and then they needed me to train them for 4 hours. So how much will it cost? And I've been teaching public speaking, but I started sweating. Not because I cannot do it, but because that was one of the first times when my skill was placed on the spotlight. What if I teach them and they go and pitch and the thing did not work? What will happen? How will I tell them that I'm good? Is them that is bad? And after much, I wanted to rigmarole and escape the whole thing, but it appeared like, come on, bro, this is how people grow. This is how people grow. So I went back and I'm like, okay, this is how much I charge. I said, okay, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for you. And I went back and I started studying. That is what effective communication does to you. It opens doors for you. And sometimes you may not be ready. You may not be as ready as your mouth have sold you to be. You are now forced to go back and go and get ready before they are ready. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the next question that now comes up is how do you utilize communication and every other skill you have learned? See, one of the mistakes that many people made back in service year, one of the mistakes that many people made was, in fact, one of the mistakes we make, let me not say many people, we make, is looking at 1 year as 365 days. It looks so long. It looks so long. It feels like, damn, I'm going to have fun. I remember when I was going for service, I used to pray then that I should not be led astray. I prayed against temptation for good 3 weeks to 1 month. And then I went to camp and I joined OBS. And when you join, in fact, if there is one thing, they are one of the most popular guys on camp. They are the ones who are in charge. They are in charge of the media. They set up the sound system. They collect news. They read news. So as OBS, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. You're talking to anyone. If you want to walk out during what do they call it? During the lectures, Said, that one is you will die during Said. You would sleep would want to finish you. But as an OBS member, you can just walk up, say I want to go and check something, and then when soldier say, hey, you will show him your tag that you're an OBS member, and then imagine me carrying OBS 001. And I was faced with some what's the word? I was faced with some dilemma, some moral dilemma, let me put it that way. But you see, it became easy for me to, okay, let's not delve in there. This is me already digressing. The cocoa I want to point there was that the confidence I brought with me to camp, right, was one that led me to becoming an OBS member, right? And then from OBS, I was able to learn this whole, what I learned there was becoming a team leader. So bringing it back to this whole 1 year thing, many people think that in 1 year you can enjoy and have fun and live life. But in the blink of an eye, 1 year is gone. 1 year is gone. It vanishes. So how do you get a skill and utilize it? Is by one, first attaching yourself to a goal. In with communication, for instance, you, even whether you know how to talk or not, villagers will like you. Villagers will love you. Hey, copper. Okay, where I sell, they respect copper. Like copper is like a god. At least when you're coming fresh from camp. Hey, copper, and you are waving and you are feeling like a celeb. These things may get into some people's head. Initially, it will fade later on, but at that point, you may have done Said, you may have gotten one skill or the other, or like me, you may have been looking for a way to grow yourself in public speaking and understand how to influence society more. You get? Upon getting to camp, upon getting to your PPA rather, you would now start attending CDS. CDS is Community Development Service. It's a meeting that is done probably once a week, once every week. You get? Now, many people will look at CDS as turbans, and I'm saying this to everyone who what's the word? You will definitely go there. Many people will start longing for the comfort of their room because whether you do anything or not, NYSC will pay you at the end of the month. Whether you shake body or not, they will pay you. So many people take it as a room to get lazy. And then that 1 year will be spent just beating around the bush and doing absolutely nothing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Spent doing absolutely nothing. So rather than you just sit back in your house and just allow time to pass while you receive your alawi, why not just take that goal and pursue it? Do you get? Now, it becomes a question of what is your goal. There is a long-term goal, there is a short-term goal. It's now for you to divide it. You go and check for the meaning of SMART goals. You now begin to measure your goals. You begin to check how well you can attain the goals. You begin to check the people that can follow you up on the goals and all of those things. You get? And then as you pursue them, you look for people that you will link up with, people who would help you to get these goals. And then you begin to mark out time frame and all of those things. But at the end of the day, you would see that the real growth mindset is the one who does not allow comfort to rob him of opportunities to serve, because that is really what service is. The only way you can master communication is if you allow yourself to come out more often, is if you allow yourself to be part of the message to different people. Because as a core member, I don't really know, okay, where I served was pretty much of a rural area. So we did more of sensitization. And most of the sensitization we did were to schools, some were to market women and all of those things. But as I wanted to further get better, I availed myself. I was always like, please put me. And you know the funny thing, many people will wonder if you are all right. Many people look at you as oversabi. Why? Because it is a position that many people are running away from. If I am to tell you to come in front of an audience and talk, many people can talk comfortably in their room, but the moment they step out in front of an audience, it is an entirely different situation. They want to die. But it is that fear that service should kill. Because in service, I'm not talking about NYSC now. I'm talking about you like serving in itself, like doing what service should be. It is in this service that you now get to kill so many of these ills that you may have in the past. It is now through this service that you get to grow. And sometimes you may not know you're growing. Why? Because as you avail yourself to this opportunity, in your own mind, you just rendered an assistance. You just rendered an assistance here, you rendered an assistance there. And at the end of the day, you have an entire portfolio filled with experiences, which will always translate into skills. Do you understand? So refuse that comfort zone, because many people end up dying in it. So before I will vanish, the summary of every single thing I'm saying here is: one, in a bid to get better at communicating, it's not just going to be about how well you speak phonetic. It's not just going to be about how much vocabulary you blow. It's about how consistent you are with your message and how convincing you are with it. And for you to have these two things, it's a function of confidence. And that confidence comes from practicing. You may not be able to you may not be a master at public speaking now, or you may still be having issues having one-on-one conversations or even talking to groups of people. But you should be able to prepare your mind now before you go there, that every opportunity to serve should not pass you by. It may start with you being on the backyard. It may start with you being at the back. It may start with you being in the background. Yeah, that's the word, in the background. But at some point, the space will start opening. And the irony about leadership is that the higher you go, the less you meet resistance. You understand? when it comes to service in itself, people shy away from service. So if your goal is to become the leader, especially if let's go with an NGO, for instance, or the church, check well. The person who leads, the person who goes to the highest amount of meeting and suffers the most is rarely contested, because it is a position of servitude. You get? So as you want to get better at communicating, start by availing yourself to service. Start by practicing in the comfort of your room. Yes, practice. Stand in front of a mirror, give yourself a speech, give yourself a topic, or try to introduce someone, try to introduce one president, try to introduce one governor, try to cast a news, talk about anything. You could decide to talk about the red curtain, you decide to talk about the spinning fan, you could decide to talk about NCD, you could decide to talk about NYSC. So as you continue these things, you may initially look like a foolish person, but that is actually how growth is enacted. You get? And then when you finish practicing inside, you go outside and test yourself with people. You test yourself with. You see, the truth is that the world is everywhere is generally like a laboratory. You try out something, you get the reaction, you go back and work on the reaction, and you go out, you try again. That's actually what, if you can look at things that way, it becomes easier for you to grow. Continuing is about setting your eyes on what you want. What setting your eyes on what you want does for you is that it takes your eyes off every discomfort you encounter on the journey. See, it's a two-way thing. There are some places you go to, they will tell you to take your eyes off the goal and enjoy the journey, right? And then on the flip side, they tell you to take your eyes off the discomfort of the journey and focus on the goal. These two statements are very correct. It's now for you to pick whichever one works for you in the given situation. Do you understand? Set your eyes on the prize and ignore the discomfort. At the same time, take your eyes off the prize and enjoy the journey. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So what this means is that you may not be able to speak eloquently now, or you may still have that undeniable Igbo accent, that undeniable Onitsha accent, that accent that has you going Biablo, or that Yoruba accent, and you're like, many, you may not be able to get rid of that Ogbomosho accent, or that Onitsha accent, or that unmistakable Northern accent. But you can still spread value with it. Why? Because value comes from the quality of what you say, and not necessarily the accent with which you spit it out. Do you get? So as you practice, you are gathering value, you are pouring out this value. What this thing does in return is that slowly but surely there is a recalibration in your speech faculty, and that recalibration now makes people to connect more with you and want to work with you. You get? Now, when I went for where I was serving, like I said, I'm a Catholic. There is no NACC there, and it was difficult to form an NACC because it's just difficult. It was just difficult, And I'm like, okay. So I availed myself. Like I joined the youth wing there, and if there was any task, if it was one I could do, I would do. If it was one I couldn't do, I'll be like, okay, how else can I help? And somehow I had, mind you, I did not come I came as a regular person who just wanted to join for the next 1 year. But somehow these acts of service did not go unnoticed. Do you understand? They did not go unnoticed. So throughout your service year, as you are going for service, take this next 1 year as a workshop. Because many people take it as a place to calm down and chill and wait for 33K at the end of the month. Yes, so you will flex. But let me tell you where depression will catch you. When you remain 3 months and you don't have anything to account for. You don't have any skill learned. You don't have any future like you look forward to. You don't have any plan after NYSC. Even to open church, you will consider opening church. I tell you, you will think of all the business, and at the end of the day, you're not settled for. Let me not call any profession, because so long it's not illegal, no profession is not noble. We've talked about making yourself useful, and then going back to the same thing I've said before. Ensure that the world sees you shine. Okay. communication in itself is not a one-way thing. It's something that influences every aspect of your life. So you may be a stammerer, or you may be somebody who is still having issues with being able to properly express themselves. Focus on practicing. What practicing does is that it begins to sieve out how you perceive things around you. And what this perceiving things around you does to you is that it begins to sieve out the people around you. It sieves out the people around you. And then somehow it links you up with people who are like-minded with you. Some of them may be more than you. They may be ahead of you in the journey. Some of them may be behind you in the journey. If they are ahead of you in the journey, it becomes easy for them to pick you, or excuse me, they pull you and you people keep walking. If they are behind you, they give you the motivation. Why? Because they are looking up to you. So you don't want to fall short of expectations. You're forced to sit up. Either ways, that 1 year is literally you in a workshop. Do you understand? It's literally you in a workshop. So, summary of everything. Summary of everything. The last thing I'll say is, don't lose guard. Don't lose guard. Don't lose guard at all. Pursue an identity. Grab that identity. Build on that identity. And at the end of 1 year, you would thank God that you did. You would thank God you did. So, I think. Oh, I think I ran through it. I had 45 minutes. I was always rushing. So please, if you have any question, I'll be more than happy to answer any question you have. Question. Please ask me. Oh wait, are my people still with me? Let me start there. Are my people with me? Please, if you're with me, you indicate.
Yes, sir, we are with you.
Okay. Thank you. So, correct. So please, are there any questions? I wouldn't mind answering questions right away. How are the member of OBS selected? Okay. Um. mm, okay. While I wait for other questions, I would just answer this one. OBS, they are like the media house of the camp. So usually the people who are fortunate to be part of OBS are people that came early. People that came early. Then if your carriage is one that looks like someone with value, the person in charge of OBS, the staff that is coordinating OBS, may still allow you in. You get. So it's not really, they may give tests. Some may ask you to write stuff. They may ask you to recite something. You get, they may give you people and say, okay, recite news, and then you pick it and start trying to like cast news. Some may give you something and ask you to just do. You get, at the end of the day, it all boils down to your courage and how you're able to execute whatever they have. Are you good at writing? If you're good at writing, you have a place in OBS. Are you fluent in your speech? If you're fluent in your speech, you have a place at OBS. I think these are the two key things that OBS look out for. If you don't join OBS, you can still join entertainment crew. They are still, those ones too are they are very, very popular. Can you give us the units involved in camp? Uh, um, people are focusing on camp. Camp is only 3 weeks. That means you still, after 3 weeks, you still have 11 months and 1 week. 11 months and 1 week. But if you ask, I don't really know. I can't remember everything. There is manual, there is Red Cross, there is OBS, obviously. There is Said. Said is the people in charge of skill acquisition and the others. I think, yeah, there is all those entertainment units. I can't remember them so well. I can go and ask anybody that just came out of camp. Those people that just came out of camp, go and meet them and ask them. Go and meet them and ask them. But whichever one, it's just about you being very committed. Though. It's about you being very committed. My mentor was not a member of OBS. Joining OBS, yes. Any platform at all where you are publicly seen, any platform where people know you, will give you a good PPA. But again, that is dependent on the nature of the state you are in. Some states are natural hellholes. For instance, I served in Kogi. Kogi is naturally a rubbish place. Even those that served in the state capital did not enjoy. They did not enjoy. Trust me, they did not enjoy. But there are some people who are expected to receive very, very beautiful places. Like the core camp directors. When you are the core camp director, you are like the number one core member in that batch. So those ones are given preferential treatment. Then there is also the come. I'm not delving in. It's already out of what I'm teaching. Another person will come and teach you all those ones. Oh yeah, another question. Do you have any other question? But yes, joining OBS will give you good PP. But trust me, it's not the only place that can give you good PPA. If you are thinking of joining OBS, you are limited. You are limiting yourself. Well, this is the first nice question I'm seeing so far. How do you overcome a fear of public speaking? It starts with the decision you want to overcome your fear of public speaking. 1, 2, it goes into you having to search for materials, look for classes, and look for places you can practice. You get. I'm currently holding a 2-day seminar on public speaking, and now I will need to seek Emeka's permission to talk about that one. But beyond that, you would have to look for classes where public speaking is taught. You'd have to join literary organizations where your speech faculty will be constantly drilled. Do you understand? Your speech faculty they are drilled, and as they are drilled, they will begin to open. The connection between your brain and your mouth is like the pathway between two streets. You get. So if this pathway is not constantly used, grass will start growing there. And as grass begins to grow there, the communication progress will slow down. People will not be able to walk through that place. As more and more grass are growing, people are unable to walk between these two streets. You understand? But when somebody just decides to clear the entire place, it becomes easy. That's how public speaking too is. The connection between your brain and your mouth has to be constantly used so that the road will continue to remain intact. You get. So if you want to learn public speaking, you would have to avail yourself to public speaking. You would have to avail yourself to the grooming that comes from public speaking. You would have to avail yourself to speaking opportunities. You would have to avail yourself to speaking opportunities. You would have to avail yourself to. It's not something you can just do at once. Okay, it's not something you can just do at once, but it all boils down to practice. It all boils down to practice. It all boils down to practice. I wouldn't want to start listing them all out. I can tell you things like, well, if you want to learn public speaking, nah, it's not something you can do here. Trust me. It's not something you can do here. So. How do people who might be introverted or shy engage strangers? This is nice. This is nice. Okay. Now, introversion or shyness is characterized by inability to properly express yourself in front of people, right? And to fix that, the first thing that has to be worked on is whatever it is that triggers that shyness, whatever it is that triggers that introversion. Most introverts they're usually full of ideas, but whenever the need for the idea arises in front of an audience, it becomes difficult for them to express themselves. You understand? So the way to fix it first is by working on it beforehand. You understand? You could start by going outside your house and give yourself a soft assignment. Start by trying to smile to like 10 strangers. 10 strangers. You get. If you're a guy, try smiling to girls. If you're a girl, try smiling to guys. The only problem is that if you smile at people, they may look at you with one kind. They may look at you like, who's this person? You get. But try smiling. Then another day, you could try complimenting people. Compliment like 10 people. Compliment like 10 people. It's going to be hard. But if you can decide to go like 30 or 40, I like your dress, nice hair, nice shoes, your perf is cool. As you do it, the more you do it, the more the more comfortable you are with it, you get. And then what this does in return is that it sharpens your confidence for when you want to stand in front of a random stranger. Do you get? So as you polish these things, it becomes easier for you to talk to them. Now, gaining attention is really a function of one, either there is something that connects the both of you, or a compliment. Yes, it's usually a point of agreement or a point of disagreement that draws attention. You understand? So let us say you see someone, oh my God, nice shoes, nice dress, or you wave or you smile. These are things that can draw attention, and then you can go on to commence a conversation. You get? The last thing I'll say there is, if you want to sustain a conversation, if you can start the conversation, things are not as bad as you think they are. You are not messing up as much as you think you are. As much as possible, try to ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. Don't say, I hope you're feeling good. Yes, I'm feeling good. No. Ask questions like, so how was life before service? How are you seeing this? How are you seeing camp? What's your favorite program in camp? Okay, so what do you enjoy about the program? These are open-ended questions that lead to more conversations. Do you understand? The next question, what of a case of someone who writes well but cannot communicate properly, like the stutter when talking? That is a function of inability to, okay, let me not speak too much English. They have not engaged their speech faculty. That's just why. They've not engaged their speech faculty. You get, when you write, it's very common in many people. They write so well, but they don't speak so well. It is because, when I newly joined my school's debate club, there was something they used to tell us about. They used to say, as a debater, you should learn to think faster than you talk. You should learn to think faster than you talk. And as I grew, as I learned, the more I learned the more I learned the art of talking, the more I understood what they meant by learning to think faster than you talk. It's something that will just happen naturally. You get? So I'm not saying you should start thinking faster than you talk. I'm saying you should start talking. Avail yourself the chance to talk. As you stutter, every time you stutter, take it as a point of correction. Just like a child that is learning to stand. The child will fall so many times. But with every time the child falls, the child tries to stand again. It's the same thing you should do. Don't take your stuttering as a gate that blocks you from mastery. Take the stuttering as a sign that you are progressing onto that perfection that you seek. Because perfection starts from the parlor of imperfection. The pathway to perfection starts from the parlor of imperfection. How best can we communicate and relate with officials, soldiers, and those in authority? Those in authority only know one thing: value. Value. And value is a function of so many things. Value is actually about value is something that draws likability to you. You get? So you are valuable if you're beautiful, you're valuable if you're handsome, you're valuable if you are charismatic, you're valuable if you are probably from the same place with them. The rarer the better. You get? So if you know you are beautiful, au revoir, it's easy for you to communicate with soldiers. They like fine girls. If you know you are intelligent, it's good. If you know you are ridiculously intelligent, then it's nice because it's slightly easier for you to communicate with the camp directors, the officials. You get? It all boils down to your smartness and your ability to tickle their fancies. Me, for one, I cannot attract my fellow man. It did not work. So what I did was to make myself. And the mommy so loved me. Oh my God. OBS, you don't chop. Mommy, they never give me. Why now? Hey. And she starts to speak Kogi for them. And I will see food. So it's about you look for your superpower. Look for your superpower. Some people's I knew someone whose skill was. It's not really a skill. I hated the fact that he was like he was everywhere. But I couldn't deny the fact that he can cook. And guess what? Guess where his PPA was? His PPA was the camp coordinator's house. Camp coordinator's house. She was paying him Malawi. Do you like so? It's about you carrying value. What's your superpower? It could be that you know how to write. It's fine. Settle for writing the script that your platoon will use to act their drama. It could be that you are coordinated. As you're entering camp, pursue that platoon leader position. Draw influence, gather influence, make people your friend. When it's time, they will point to you. You understand? If you can be Zakwen, there's what we call to Zakwen. If you can be a busybody, make yourself a busybody. The leaders will see you. The moment you are, see, people are attracted to anything that can make their job easier for them. You get? So if you are beautiful, it works for you. If you are charismatic, yeah. What's up, people? What's up, people? Shut up, chat, make some noise. All those, they like it. You get? And as more people know you, when it's time, when it start getting close to the end of the 3 weeks, in fact, like midway in 2 weeks, they will call you to one corner and give paper and say, write where you want to be posted to. Do you understand? It's what they did for me. Right where you want to be posted to. And I heard that Lokoja was very, very hot. I said, I don't want to go to Lokoja. Just give me a good place. Do you get? It's what they do. I'm telling you, it's what they do. They will call you to one corner and say, right where you want to be posted to. Fast, continuing. Communicating and relating with officials is a function of you showing value. So like this now, NCD, Emeka is already like, I knew Emeka was contesting for one position. I've forgotten the position he was contesting for. And Emeka won and he was like, hey, sir, I won. I'm like, hey, congrats, I'm happy you won. I was very happy. I was really, really, really happy when I think that was one of the first trophies I had, a public speaking teacher. That was one of the first trophies I had as a public speaking teacher. And, continuing in this leadership streak, it will become easy for him to be noticeable in camp. I'm not flattering you. In fact, I collect my compliment back. It will become easy because he has already made it a lifestyle. Do you understand? So now, if you want to be noticeable, it's easy. Start now. Start looking for places you can be of value where you are, in your local church, in a meeting you belong. Make sure it's something that gives value to the society. That's how as you gather that value, when you go there, it will radiate naturally. Do you get? So, okay. Any other? How do someone just called me a ma? Please, I'm a sir. Okay. How do I practice and what type of book should I read that will make me become good in communication? Okay. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Number one is try standing in front. Okay, try working with your phone recorder. Record yourself talk. Send it to someone who you regard as an expert, and tell them to what's the word? Tell them to evaluate you. 1, 2. Look for literary societies or places you can go that will force you to speak more often. 3. Consume books. There are lots of books written by Dale Carnegie on communication, how to influence and influence people, the art of speaking. Lots of books by Brian Tracy too on communication. Or you can go on YouTube. YouTube is an underrated university. YouTube, go through any course, do any assignment that is there. That is how you grow. Do you understand? That is how you grow. Is there any other question? Is there any other question? Is there anything I did not talk about? I would appreciate if you remind me because I'm human after all. Anything I did not talk about? Imagine this is where everything was the whole time. Anything. Okay. As there is nothing, I will end with a very simple story. It's a very short story. Towards the end of my service year, because when I joined, let's say 3 months after I joined, by that time I have sworn that I will never take any leadership position again because being the head of school BS showed me shaggy. I mean, you have to wake up earlier than everybody. Make sure that the sound check is on point. And then when they eventually sound the bugle by 4:30 or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, everything is ready. As in, people will literally come to assembly. Do you understand? And then people will sing and praise and everything. And then after the entire socials, by 10:30, others are going to bed. You are making sure that everything is properly packed in case rain falls in the midnight. It was so hectic, coupled with every other thing in between. And I swore I will not be a leader again. And then when the head of the president of our CDS group passed out, it was only natural that they were like, Victor, take up that position. And I said in my life position. But at some point, even the person too was very occupied. And somehow the leadership position fell on my lap. Like I was not elected. Just somehow, let me just help out. And I ended up leaving NYSC with a CDS certificate that had acting president written on it. The point I'm trying to make here is that it doesn't matter the skill you want to learn. It doesn't matter the skill. You want to learn communication, you want to learn fashion designing, you want to learn sewing clothes. Avail yourself. Avail yourself to helping people. Many people think it is not profitable simply because there is no financial gratification to it. But avail yourself. That's how you grow. If you're having issues with communicating, come out. Engage, join places where people talk. And you will stammer initially, but anybody that laughs at your stammering, anybody that makes you feel bad for stammering, that person is a fool. That person obviously doesn't deserve to be your friend. Yes, your close pals will laugh at you, but you understand what I'm talking about. So, communication is a function of you, is as you give out, you receive. And at the same time, the quality of what you give out is a function of what you receive. Okay? So, as you continue to be a person of value, these things will naturally you will naturally attract these things, and it will become a life that you live. It will become a life that you live. Martin Luther King Jr. was somebody who he never carried a gun, but even up to 60 years after his death, the life he lived paved way for, what was this guy's name? Obama. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was somebody who Martin Luther King believed in because of how Gandhi lived his life. And Gandhi was instrumental to India's independence. And even after Gandhi is dead, up till today, Gandhi is almost being worshipped. You understand? There are lots of people that have changed the world with their tongue. And these people, most of them were not born natural communicators. Most of them were born with impediments. I suffered low self-esteem growing up. I was dark, I was short, I was skinny, and I was ugly. You get, and it was as I started to see myself from the other light. Actually, I wasn't seeing myself. It was my coach that was seeing me. My coach was always telling me, Victor, you are the best version of yourself. Victor, you are beautiful. Victor, you are handsome. So statements started to make sense to me. I started to come out of my shell, and guess what? Every other thing was handed out to me. Okay, one of the people that motivated me the most, is deaf. His name is Nelson Jovial. I call him Nelson Jovial. I think it's Nelson Jovial. He's deaf. But his charisma is way out of the roof. I'll say it again. He's deaf. If you can get that confidence is a function of what you give. Every other thing will just align themselves to you. I hope I poured out something. Please help me manage the little I give out. I hope with the little I have shared, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that you are a communicator. All you need to do is to find your identity and work on it. I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you, to feed you and not to brainwash you, to bring you out of the ocean of doubt into the ocean of thoughts, that inside you is a communicator that is waiting to be unleashed. Thank you very much, Emeka. I appreciate this opportunity to share value. Thank you. God bless you all. I'm going to vanish from up here.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Victor. We really appreciate your time. We really appreciate your sincerity. And from my notes, from what I got, for those that we are not really catching up, we should practice. For people who might be finding it difficult to communicating or speaking well, practice. You can practice through recording yourself or standing in front of a mirror, and through consuming books is going to help us. Then we should look out for our superpower. Your superpower might be smiling. You might have a good set of teeth that whenever you smile, people compliment it. Or maybe it's your tiny voice. We should look out for our superpower or your busybody nature. Then expose ourselves to speaking opportunities in meetings and in gatherings, even in family meeting or morning prayer. is also a very good arena to practice. Then become a person of value, should give our value through our skills, service, and leadership. Thank you so much, sir. And build our confidence through knowledge and know what we are pursuing. You should have an end goal in mind through our servicing. So thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate that. And with that, we come to the end of today's session.